So, welcome back to lecture number 4. Everything will be recorded, hopefully with better one, voice quality and so on. So, we have contents. We will talk about loops. Last lecture I left you with a question that if we have a specific type of problem where we want to get these marks for the 50 students and then do some processing, finding their grades or maybe finding the average, declaring 50 variables and getting each and every. So, we discussed that thing that this is not a good idea to declare 50 variables, 50 different variables, student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, rather than we must have another way to solve that particular specific problem. So, the answer to those is loop. Okay? So, repeating a set of statements, we are repeating a few things. Okay? So, how we can repeat the things together? Is it my feeling that we have delivered that lecture or not? This is week 4. You have studied loop? Yes? You have studied the loop or not?
No.
Have you studied this loop? No. Okay. Because I was getting a feeling that we have already taken that lecture. So, problem that we discussed last time, that if we have the n integers, the other problem that I discussed, that is supposed to be at the end of this lecture, not the last one. Anyway, so we have a problem that we have n integers and we ask the user to give me a number, and then we want to add all the integers starting from 1 up to that number, and that was the problem. And then we say that if we want to find out like sum is equal to 1, sum plus equal to 2, sum plus equal to 3 and so on, how many times we are going to write that particular specific statements. We are doing the same. We are adding the next number, next number, next number in the sum value or some variable. How we can solve that problem? So, the answer to these is that we have defined get the user input, and then we say that int I is equal to 1 and then sum is equal to 0, and then we are saying checking, we are having a condition. If statement we have already studied. So, we have a condition that if I is less than or equal to n, if the value of I, which is starting at 1, if it is less than or equal to n or not. If it is yes, it is less than or equal to that particular value of n, then we say sum plus equal to I, and after that we are increasing the value of 1, and then we come back to this particular specific condition again and check. If it is true, we will continue in that particular specific circle. Check the condition, condition is true, add the value of I in the sum, add 1 in the I, and then go back and check that condition again. And unless and until this I value is less than or equal to n, we are going to continue that particular specific circle again and again, doing the same statements, doing the same steps. And once, because we are increasing the value of I by 1 every time, we are repeating in that particular specific or going through that particular specific circle. So, eventually we know that if n is a positive number, the value of I will become greater than n, because every time we are increasing it by 1. So, once it becomes false, that condition, we are going to print the sum and then we are ending. So, but we have a specific way, we have multiple ways to implement that specific loop part, circular part. Inside modern programming languages, you talk about C++, you talk about C#, you talk about Java, you talk about Python, Scala. There are a lot of modern languages. In all of those languages, you can find the same concept, maybe how to write it, syntax, how to write that particular specific construct in that specific language may be different a little bit, okay, but more or less they have the same concepts. So, the other problem that we talk about, that how we can print that particular specific pattern, again simple. We have 10 lines, so if we we have 9 lines, so we say n is less than 10, we print n stars on the line, and n is equal to 1, starting with n is equal to 1. So, first line print 1 star, second line print 2 stars, third line print 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 9 stars, and once that particular value of n will become 10, finish. That loop will finish. Got it? So, in the C# we have 3 different type of loops. We have while, we have do while, and then for. And you talk about any other modern languages, you will have 3 these kind of loops over there as well. Maybe a little bit change in the syntax, how to write it exactly in the language, that is maybe a little bit different, but more or less they are same. If you talk about Java, if you talk about C#, if you talk about C++, exactly the same syntax. Okay. In Python it's a bit different, a little bit different, not much, but the concept is same. So, what we are doing here in the while loop, while keyword, reserve word for the language, then we have the brackets or the parentheses. In those parentheses we put a condition, just like the if condition, conditional statement, which will result in true or false. If this condition is true, we are going to execute the body, which is the statements of that particular specific while loop. If it is true, false, we are not going to execute that particular specific statements. Okay. So, again we are coming from up some program, then we check the condition. If it is true, we were going to repeat in that particular specific circular path unless and until that condition is true, and whenever it becomes false, we are going to come out of that particular specific repetition of the statements. If we talk about the flow chart for the while loop or the simple loop, while loop or for loop, they are exactly the same, but when you are writing that particular specific construct in the language, that it's a bit different. So, for while loop, first of all, what we are doing, we are defining unit n, uint, unsigned int. Remember, we can only have the positive values, we can't have the negative values, because we are talking about that we should have a positive integer value from the user, and that particular specific data type enforce us don't have a negative value. Yes, we can have a 0 value, but not the negative value. And then we are asking the user to give me a number, and then we are getting that particular specific number, and then we are converting it to the n. Okay. Then we say uint I is equal to 1, sum is equal to 0. This exact statement that we have written down over these steps that we have written down in our flow chart, what we shown in our flow chart actually. And then we say while, that is the while, and then put that condition I is less than equal to n. Sum plus equal to I, we are adding the value of I, which is 1 right now, into this sum value, and then we are increasing the value of I by 1, and then we can also say I plus plus, increment operator. The purpose is that we want to increase the value of I by 1, I plus plus or I plus equal to 1, they are doing the same thing, or plus plus I, does not matter. Here you put a post increment or pre increment, does not matter. So, this is the condition. If the condition is true, we are going to execute that particular specific while block or the body of the while, otherwise we are not going to execute that thing, and we are going to continue to execute that particular specific body unless and until this condition is true. So, this is the body of the loop, this is the header of the loop, while, and in the parenthesis the bracket, that is the complete header. In the parenthesis we have a condition, and then if we have only one statement in this particular specific block with these curly braces are optional. If we have multiple, then definitely we need to create a block. And then at the end, of course, we are printing that particular specific result on the screen. Can you identify the problem in this code? We have this code. Is there any problem that is you think that will, because I am getting something which is like, not the right thing. Sum of 0 first integers, sum of 0 first integer is this. What I am printing here? Well, I am saying that sum of n integers, n first integer is sum. We are getting this sum, and then we are say that sum. What happened here? This says 0. Anyone can find that logical problem, logical error, looking at that code. Sum is equal to 0, yes, that's fine. We initialize that value. That is exactly that we have done here. Sum is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, and then we say sum plus equal to I, then I value. Here we are saying that I is less than n, and then what's the problem here?
Should it be sum plus equals I?
Sum plus equal to I, okay, yes, one problem. What is the other one? This become infinite loop, it will never end at automatically at the end. Yes, please. N, we are adding n plus 1? What we should do? It should be I. So we have problems, sum plus equal to I, not n. And then we say n plus equal to 1. We are increasing the value of the n rather than I. What happened? I is 1. User has given me n is equal to 10, for example, n is equal to 10. Now, what is happening here? We are changing the value of n. Sum plus equal to n, it will add 10 in the sum value, that will become 10. Then say n is equal to n plus 1, that will become 11. And then we are going to do add the. But the point is, value of I is not changing. I is 1, 1 is less than equal to 10, 11, 12, 13, always true. That condition is always true because we are increasing the value of n, and that will become infinite loop. That will never end. And of course, this system nowadays, when we studied programming, at that time their systems were not intelligent enough, and they said, no, we never come out of that loop. But nowadays systems are intelligent. So after certain time, when they consider that this becomes an infinite loop, they will automatically comes out of that one, and then say that when the value of n has become greater than the limit of the unsigned int, that will come out of that particular. So that's why it's showing me 0 here, and then here is a garbage value which is not required. So that loop has become infinite. So we need to be very careful what we are doing in the body of the loop, what condition we are checking, and if we are not paying attention, we may end up in that particular specific situation. We are getting some answer at the end, but that is not the right answer that we are looking for. Got it? So when we are designing the loop condition, loop continuation condition, and the body of the loop, we need to be very careful exactly what we want to do. So here it should be I not n inside the body of the loop. Sum plus equal to I, n plus equal to I plus equal to 1, not n, because n is not going to change, I is going to change, and then based on that we are going to come out of the loop. Clear? Any questions before we can move to the next live demo? I will just skip that one. I have explained you very well that what's happening in that one and why it is happening, because we can write the same code in the program and then try to execute step by step, and then we can realize that we need to add the I in the sum value, not the n, and we need to increment the value of I, not the n. So we understand that thing, and good thing the people without debugging, without running that code, they can understand the problem. Okay. So, the while loop, what is happening? I mean, how it is running. Now I am trying to show you what is happening in the RAM. So, when you say u int n, by default it will be initialized with the value 0, but as I told you, default value, if you do not give the value, it will not going to 1. And then we are printing something on the screen to ask the user to give the value, and then if I say that user give me some value, for example 5, and that will be saved inside the n. Okay. So, once we are asking the user to give the value, whatever that value is given, it will go and change the value of the n inside the RAM 5. Now, we are initializing another 2 variables, I is equal to 1, sum is equal to 0, and both of them are the unsigned integer values. So, we declare those, we get those, reserve those memory areas for these variables I and sum as well, and then sum is equal to 0 and I is equal to 1, and then check the condition. Condition is definitely true. I is 1, n is 5, I is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true. It will execute the body. Now, what it will do? It will add the value of I in the sum. 0 plus 1, answer is 1. So, value of sum will change. Yes or no? Value of I sum will become 1, and then we are saying that I plus equal to 1. Whatever the value of I is, increase it by 1. So, now the value of I will become 2, and once we have reached the end of the loop, we will go back to the header again and check the condition again. Do you understand? Check the condition, execute the statements within the loop body, and once we have finished that loop body, we are going back again and checking the condition. This is how the things are moving. Again check the condition, 2 is less than or equal to 5, yes, increase the value of sum, 1 plus 2, it becomes 3, and then we are going to increase the value of I, make it 3 again, end of the loop, go back and check the condition again, condition is still true, come back again, sum plus equal to 1, 2 plus 3 plus 3, answer is 6, the value of the sum will become 6, and then increase the value of I become 4, and then end of a loop, go back and check the condition, condition is still true, 4 is less than or equal to 5, sum is equal to sum plus I, 6 plus 4, answer is 10, change that value in the sum variable, increase the value of I, make it 5, end of the loop, go back again, check the condition, condition is still true, 5 is less than or equal to 5. Sum, so 10 plus 5, it becomes 15, and then increase the value of I, that will become 6, and now we have reached the end of the loop, but again it will go back and check the condition. Now, the condition is false. Once the condition is false, it will come out of that particular specific loop, and now it will execute the statement which is after that loop, that structure, while structure. Print something on the screen, done. Clear? Up to this point, if you have any confusion that how this loop is working. Yes.
Are you able to show us Visual Studio that while loop just practically?
Visual Studio, you want?
Using the
Okay. So you want me to write that code? Okay. Fine. So let me. I have that Visual Studio opened. So we are just trying to hello world, that's fine. So we can just keep it like that. And then we say that u int n is equal to what? I am not printing the statement on the screen. I'm just saying that convert dot to int 32, and we are getting console dot read line. Okay, so we are trying to get that particular specific value in the n, and then we also have the uint I is equal to 1, equal to 1, sum is equal to 0, and we are, what's happening here, uint, oh, it should be uint, okay, and then say while I is less than or equal to n, and here we say sum plus equal to I, and then I plus plus, plus equal to 1, I plus plus, or even plus plus I, doesn't matter, it will do the same thing. Okay, so we are increasing the value of I, we are adding the sum plus equal to I, and eventually, okay, we need to have that comma, not semicolon. Okay, so we are done. So let me run that particular specific loop one by one. So on we come out here, okay, is it? No, it is not. So we need to come down at the last part, and now we have put that debug point. When we run that particular specific code, it is going to build, compile that program, and now it will show us that particular hello world message, and then we can give the value. So wait for that, taking a long time, simple program, but yet takes a long time unless and until it will print that particular. So now it say that it stop at that point. So as I told you that you can run those lines, okay, step into, I don't want to step into, I just want to run that line, and if we go back to here, it is show me that particular specific line. Okay, and now again if I just try to run that line here, it will come down here that you need to give me the input because I'm waiting for some input from you. So I give 5 here and press enter. When I press enter, it is coming down here, it is initializing those variables, and look at that. If we look at that particular specific part here, this n value is 5, okay, and it has declared the variables I and sum. So we can go and check the condition. So once the condition is true, it is going to execute this one. Why? Because I is 1, n is 5, I is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true, and it is going to execute. And now you can say that if I just run that one, the value of the sum is going to change. Now the value of sum has become 1. And then again if I run this one, the value of I has become 2. So even you can see when you are running step by step, it is showing you all those things. And if I just try to, what you can say that, can I just continue? Yes. And we come back here. I'm not printing anything on the screen after calculating the things. Okay. So let me put a console. Console dot write line, and I am saying that we need to put sum of numbers plus sum, and now this time I just try to remove that particular specific part and then run that particular specific code again, and then you can see that whatever the value we give, it will going to perform that particular specific task. So wait for it. What's happening? Okay, I should be here. Come on, hello world. Message. then the input, and then the output after the, of course, execution of the loop body. Wait for it, come on, quickly. Come on, that's taking too long. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
So you got how to write the code in the, okay. So I hope, okay, come on. What's happening? It is trying to execute. Okay, let me stop it and try to run it again. Not this one. I just try to run that particular specific program again and then see that what is happening. It's ready. It is trying to, so again it's come, I just give the value 10 here, and now you can see that it is printed the sum 55, and you can check it by yourself. Okay? Any other questions before we can move to the next? No? So again, printing something on the screen, how many stars you want to print, how we can implement that using the while loop. Simple. So n is equal to 1, initialize the value, and then you say n is less than equal to 10, less than 10 only. We can also equal to 10, it means it will also print the 10th line as well. So this is another point when we are executing the loops, because they are repeating something. Sometime we want it to run 10 times, but eventually it run 9 times, one less, or sometime we want it to run 10 times, but it actually run 11 times. So one less or one more, because that condition is not properly configured. So that is the, what you can say, that a logical error, that you are running your loop maybe one less time or maybe one more time that is expected to be executed. And what are the problem? The condition is the problem. If you say n is less than equal to 10, it means it is going to run one more time, 10 times rather than 9 times. And if you say n is less than 9, because this is 9 times you want to repeat it, and then you say n is less than 9, now it should be less than or equal to rather than less than. It will run 8 times, not 9 times. Understand? So this condition is very important. So due to that particular specific condition, it is possible that you are running your code or you are executing your loop one less time or one more time. And if that is the case, look at that condition and fix that problem. Okay. So we have console.write, and we have the enumerable class. Actually, it is going to repeat that star n times. If it is 1, it will repeat it only one time. If it is n2, it is repeated 2 times, and so on. So that specific pattern is being generated. It return me a string that is I am going to print on the screen. So that is something come inside star triangle. Okay. So let's run this program. I don't think so. That should be fine. Any question till now? We can compute that what is the value of n, then increasing the value of n by 1, 1, 1, it will become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it will print. Once it will become 10, it will stop. So that is the end of the while loop, and now we will talk about do while loop. In the do while loop, things are a bit different. First we execute the body of the loop, then we check the condition. And there are certain cases. For example, you are asking the user, give me a positive value. Can you check this thing before the user give you the value? You are asking the user to give me some value, positive value or negative value, or give me some string value, maybe give me some character value. Can we check before the user has given me the value, and then before, no, we can't. So while is asking, checking the condition before that happen. So in the cases when we are asking the user to give us an input value and then we put some validation on it, we check that condition is actually matching our criteria or not. So first of all, we need to get that value, and then we can, do something. So first time the body of the loop is going to be executed without checking any condition, but second time it will check the condition. After the first time, it will always check the condition, and if the condition is true, it is going to repeat that steps, otherwise not. Okay. So here, look at that. If we look at the flow chart, the statements are above the condition. First, it will execute the statements and check the condition. If the condition is true, go back and repeat those steps, and then check the condition, and if it is false, come out of that loop. While loop, check the condition, then execute the body of the loop. Do while, first time you don't check anything, you execute those statements and then you check the loop condition. If it is true, you will repeat those steps. If it is false, will come out of that one. Give you the example that we can't check the value of the input, or we cannot validate the input value from the user unless and until we have it. Okay. So in that case, at least we need to get the value first time and check or validate that input value, and then we can do. And these are the one of the conditions, one of the places where we need to do that. So ask the user to enter an integer, keep asking the user to enter the integer, and add them all unless the user enters a 0. You are asking the user to add the number, and you are adding that particular specific number into the sum value. If the user gives 0, you will stop that particular specific loop, and at the end you are going to print those things. So we are getting the input value from the user. We had declared the or initialized the sum is equal to 0 variable. Ask the user to give a value in the integers n. Add that n value into the sum. Check the condition. If the n is not equal to 0, we are going to repeat that steps, and eventually, if whenever the user is giving the 0, we will stop that loop. Clear? Any questions? No questions. Brilliant students, or maybe brilliant teacher. Int sum is equal to 0, and then we also declare the value n without any initial value. Console.write, enter a value to add or 0 to quit. So we are giving a proper message to the user that what it need to do. It can give a value which is not 0, or it can value a 0 to quit that particular specific program or that loop actually. So we say n is equal to convert that int, and then whatever the value is given by the user, putting that value in the variable n, sum plus equal to n, and then we are checking the condition if n is not equal to 0. And at the end, of course, we are printing those things. So here, that's very important. Do and while. When you say while, in the parentheses you put a condition, you need to put a semicolon at the end. It means that this particular specific structure is finishing here. So sometime we forget that particular semicolon, but don't worry about that. If you forget that, the program will give you the syntax error, and then syntax error need to be fixed before you can run the program, but definitely that particular semicolon is there. We need to put that particular specific. Whenever we have a do while condition, after the condition we need to put a semicolon. Clear? In the while we don't, because the statements which are written after or within the body of the while, we have the semicolons, so it is telling us that where we need to terminate. But here we need to tell that this is the end of the statement or do while structure. Clear? So this is the sample program. We are asking the user to enter the value like 23, and then I put 45 and then put 0. When I say 0, it will finish, and you can check that 23 plus 45 is 68. So that loop is going to continue as long as the user is giving a non-zero value. If the user is giving a non-zero value, that will continue to ask the user again and again and again and again a number, and whenever that user is giving the 0, it will stop. Clear? Any questions? Next, sum of n integers while loop. This is the while loop. We check the condition and adding the values. We can do it with the do while as well. The only thing is that we are going to check the condition after the sum. Sum is plus equal to I plus equal to 1, and then I is less than equal to n. But we need to put some, in this case, we need to put some conditions on the n. N must be a positive number, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It cannot be negative using the unsigned int value, but it can be 0. So we don't want to be 0. So we can check that particular specific thing when the user is giving us the input value. In any case, because here we are, if n is equal to 0, for example, if n is equal to 0, our sum value will not be the right thing. The reason is that sum plus equal to I, it will become 1, I plus plus, I is less than equal to n, no, and will come out, the value of the sum will 1. If the user has given 0, user has given the value 0, the sum value will, this particular specific flow chart will return sum is equal to 1, and that is the wrong thing. Yes or no? So we need to make sure we can validate that n should be at least 1. Again, what we can do? We can simply say, put that particular specific thing inside the loop and check that if n is less than or equal to 0, ask the user to enter the value of n again. Do while. So understand, so what is the difference? So here we have checking the condition before we executing the body, and in the do while we are executing the body of the loop and then checking the condition. So this is the main difference between while and do while. Any questions so far? The difference between the while and do while? No? Again, if we want to do the same thing here, we can write the same thing. Console, give me the value, put that value in the n, int I is equal to 1, sum is equal to 0, and do. If sum plus equal to 0, I plus equal to 1, while I is less than equal to n, and print the value. I give you the tell you that if you put that particular n is equal to 0, it give me a wrong answer. Now we can validate when we are getting the value of n, and if we don't want to validate the value of the n, what we need to do here to fix that problem? How we can make the sum give me the right answer when the n is equal to 0? How we can fix that problem without validating what the value of n can be 0. If it is 0, I want to get a right answer that is 0, not 1. What we need to do?
Would you start I off as 0?
Start I of 0. Yep, that's one thing. So first of all, what we need to do here, we need to change this particular specific 1 to 0. What else we need to do? We are saying that this particular specific I is equal to 0, okay? Sum plus equal to I. So 0 plus 0, sum will be 0, and I is equal to I plus equal to 1. So now the I will become 1 after first loop, after first time we execute the body. I is less than or equal to n. I is 1. 1 is less than or equal to 0. Yes or no? No. So, we will get this sum is equal to. So, we just change that particular I is equal to 0. Even for the 0, we are going to get the right answer. Clear? Do you got it? We just change one thing in the initialization of the I value and we get the right answer. Again, we can validate the value of n, or we can change our logic here, how do we can calculate the sum. If we do that, again we get this right answer, so it does not matter. Got it? So, we need to think what we want to achieve and how we can get that. There are always multiple ways to do the things. Dry run the program, we do not need to, that is fine. Again, printing the things on the screen, we have seen that how we can print the things on the screen using the while loop. Now, we want to do it as a do while loop. Again, the condition is coming at the end. Okay. Condition is coming at the end. What will be the problem? We have 9 lines here. Nine lines here. What will be the problem here? Because we did not do anything, we just say that n is equal to less than 10 and then we are doing that. Is there any problem? Can we dry run that particular specific program? We start I is equal to 1, print one line, I plus equal to 1 and check that condition is less than equal to 10, less than 10, sorry, not equal to, less than 10. I become 2, print 2 stars and I is less than n. Yes. 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 6 star, 7 star, 8 star, 9 star and then I is less than equal to. When it has printed 9 stars here, when the value of I is 9 at that time, I is less than equal to 10, yes, less than 10, yes, it is true. Go and print 9 stars and when it become I plus equal to 1, it will stop, because now the value of I become 10 and then 10 is less than equal to 10. That is false, come out. So, we are printing 9 statements, 9 lines. Clear? So, there is no problem in that, even we just change that thing, it does not make any change, does not make any effect. Clear? Any questions? Break. So, we will come after 50 minutes and resume our lecture.